and we can, after about 30 seconds, we can begin. Okay, Mr. Chairman, roll on.
All right. The time is 5:36, beginning of our meeting. And present, Jeff, David, Danae, and missing is Cammie. And first item, approval of minutes.
I make a motion, we approve as written.
Can I get a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So approved. So moving on. Any visitors or? No? Old business?
Okay. We've completed the Civic Center. The only thing that we haven't done, and we're still running through the numbers, crunching to make sure we finished up within the budget to see if we have enough left over to do the fencing. But we've done a little landscaping in the front as far as that goes. So we're good to go. Coronavirus has put us back, so we're not actually open to general public at this point. And probably a good idea, because in the next segment, I will go over you some ideas about the rental and usage of it, and maybe some changing up some ideas that we'll go into. But we'll continue on with Blair. Why don't you give them a quick rundown on the park, the Christmas and the Bazaar Saturday.
Sure. We had, well, my light's really bright. We had, I think it was a great day. We couldn't have gotten better weather to have in December. We had 73 vendors for the Christmas Bazaar, and everyone did a great job, wearing their mask, keeping socially distant, and with Chelsea Solomon, yet again did a great job putting the Christmas Bazaar together. After the Christmas Bazaar, we had the tree lighting, and that was great too. I don't know if you guys were there for that, but it was pretty magical, I think. The ice skating was great too. I couldn't be more excited, because just the atmosphere and the energy in the park was just great. The people that were there were happy and festive, and I couldn't be more happier.
Yeah, it was, park looks great and everything looked great when I went by.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Well, I wanted to say what an awesome job Blair did too. She's amazing. And I told her it was so great that Calvert didn't cancel all of this because of COVID. Some of the counties and communities around us have done that, and we didn't. And it was so awesome. I was there all day, all night, and it was wonderful. And I'm so glad, so proud of Calvert.
Yeah, the Lions Club had over 200 cars come through their parade too, which I thought was great. They were not expecting that kind of turnout, and it was pretty awesome.
I hope you got to rest yesterday, Blair.
I did. I didn't get off the couch.
Good.
It was a great day. Great day. But no, I appreciate your help, Danae, because we definitely needed extra hands that day, and it was really great. Really great. But yeah, that's all I got.
Did a great job.
Blair, appreciate it.
Absolutely. Amazing.
I need to correct something in the minutes from last time. I told you all last time that we had the two-person table in, and we're waiting on the tables for the picnic tables for the old pavilion, of the new pavilion at Old Park. And I was wrong. It was the other way around. We've got the tables in for a new pavilion at Old Park, and we're trying to have them done and up. I'd like to have them up before Christmas, but if not, we'll try to get them up before the end of the year. So those tables are in. And then we bought 5 of them, and thanks to the Lions Club, they picked up the cost of the 2 handicap tables we're putting down there. So we're placing 7 tables total in that new pavilion.
Good.
So we're still trying to work on some siding for inclement weather, but we haven't got an answer for that as yet. The Memorial Park, of course, the tree, we didn't put it inside the fenced area where the splash pad is this year. We've moved it out. And in doing so, we wound up getting we had set to do this on a temporary basis, but the way the picket fence that we put around the Christmas tree, I mean, what do you guys think? Do you think that's a short-term or a long-term option?
I like it.
It looked
Yeah, I
good.
like it too.
Yeah, I at first had thought about it being a short-term option, but the more I looked at it, we put it together, got it decorated. I'm going like, this is probably a long-term option because it looks really good. I thought so. If you guys are okay with that, we'll just roll on with that next year, and that gives us the ability to move it wherever we need to move it.
Mhm.
Yeah, I agree.
We got
Maybe it's great.
the tarps are off the 2 shade structures over the playgrounds down here between fields 1 and 2. So we've got those taken care of. They're off. We're working on getting all the leaves up. Old Park is always a challenge.
Oh, yeah.
So, but we've actually purchased a new blower that fits on the back of that small backhoe tractor that Parks has been using for that and the cemetery. It actually fits on that 25 horse tractor. It's a PTO driven. It's got a rotating nozzle that you can actually rotate it from a hand control, and variable speed on the impeller, so it blows, and it will move some leaves. And so that's been a good purchase for us on that one. And then basically we're trying to get things ready, winterized throughout, mostly some of the fountains that we have. Of course, the splash pad fountain, I don't expect to take it down until after the Christmas season is over, unless the weather changes dramatically. And I don't see that right at this point in time, but unless it changes dramatically, we'll probably take it down after the first full week of January, probably around the 8th or something, the end of that week. We'll take shut the fountain down and winterize it. Trying to think if there's anything else going on down there. Again, working the tables, getting them built, get them on site, we've got the other stuff kind of closing up shop, winterizing a lot of the play structures and stuff like that. So that's kind of where we stand at this moment. We do have one more table that we're waiting on. The one I thought we had was the one we're waiting for. The one I thought we were waiting for, the ones I thought we were waiting on for are in. So anyway, that is our updates, unless you have individual or specific questions, Mr. Chairman or members.
So the picnic tables, they're heavy enough that we're not going to have to bolt those down or anything, right?
350 pounds worth.
Okay, good deal.
I'm sure they can be moved by a couple of 3 people, but as far as that goes, these tables are going to be heavy. You're not going to just pick up and run with it.
Okay, good deal.
Yeah, I didn't want to have to bolt these down, and I'm thinking we could be able to move them if we needed to. If somebody was wanting to do some special tables for whatever they were going to do inside, we could have these moved to the outside along the walk around if we needed to. So, but at this point, it should be good.
What about the panels? Are we going to be looking at adding panels this year?
That's what I was saying. We haven't got an answer yet, but we're also looking. Our cost on the tables themselves was around it was right at 15,000, give or take. And then the Lions Club put in another close to 2,500. So it was about 17,500 for that. We only budgeted 25 total. So we're going to take a look and see. I was talking with Brad about that, and the more we look at this, the more I'm starting to think that we want to mount something in the openings of the north, the south, and then the two, not the main entrances there in the center, east and west, but
Mhm.
4 windows, if you were,
Mhm.
areas, and then the entrances on either side of the north and south, the smaller ones. Look at putting a roll up that is actually held inside a containment unit at the top for those areas, and then getting some sort of a maybe more like a vinyl setup that you can come through, but would still actually help hold the heat and air in. It's kind of what we're looking at this point. And that way we don't have to take these others down and put them up, but other than just opening them up, pulling them down and locking them in place. That way we've got kind of like the hurricane shutters
Mhm.
Okay.
in Florida and stuff like that, utilizing those for those openings, and then using for the other, just having some sort of a plastic thing that can help breathe a little bit. I want to say that, I may be speaking, but what I understand is the fireplace units there, that once it detects too much carbon monoxide, it shuts down automatically. But that's something one of the guys was telling me. I haven't read that personally, so.
Okay.
But we were discussing that just today. We've got caught up on everything else. Now we can start looking at that again. Yeah.
I don't have any more questions about that.
Okay. All right. Any new business then? You ready for that?
Yes, let's move on to new business.
Okay. My biggest concern at this point right now in new business today is actually talking about usage of the Civic Center now that we're complete with it. One of the things I would like for us to consider is kind of revamping how it's used, how it can be used. We now have 2 event rooms, one small, one large. And I also think that there's probably the ability that we could actually set this up where you could rent one of those rooms for half a day, like a 6-hour period. And, that way it could be rented by twice during the day. If we rented it from 8 to 2 and then from 4 to 10, there's a 2-hour gap, but that gives people time to utilize it, clean it up, the others to come in, set up for some small event like a birthday party or something like that. And that also keeps the price down that would need to be charged for those individuals. If they were to get a half a day, maybe, we're looking at a resident for full day in that small event room, $75. But if they wanted just half a day, we could do it for say 40, and so utilize it. And I'm not saying those would be the rates, but I'm just saying a consideration. If you want half a day, you get one rate. If you want it all day, you get another rate. And the only thing on that is I would say, if we're not going to require, if a person doesn't have renters insurance, homeowners or renters insurance, then they probably don't have insurance that they could actually utilize for that. If you don't, then maybe that's when we want to charge for a deposit. Because in a homeowner's or rental, if I'm not mistaken, what we can do is we can just say, all right, bring us a certificate of insurance for this item. It's a simple thing that a lot of times they just call the insurance company. Insurance company shoots us a copy of the certificate. So we've got that on file. So during their event, it's covered. And if they do damage or something like that, we can file against their insurance. If not, then a deposit of some sort.
Mhm.
Well, that means we have a deposit for insurance, and that way if something were to happen, and not necessarily cleaning on everything, but if there's any damage, then we've got something to tend to that.
That makes sense.
And it also doesn't prohibit someone who doesn't have rental insurance or doesn't have a homeowner's insurance policy. That doesn't prohibit them from being able to access the facility. But at the same time, it also gives them, it makes them responsible in some way.
So what kind of deposit? What kind of deposit are you looking at?
Again, that's something I want to talk to you all about. I was thinking the small room, probably $100. The big room is $200 right now because that's all we rented. So that's the deposit on it. And we actually charge deposit and insurance for that one.
That's what I was going to ask, what it currently is.
Yeah. It's,
Okay.
yeah. Now, for small birthday parties like that, they haven't been doing the insurance. And again, that's one of the things I don't know that it's necessary, but I also don't think it's necessary to have the big room for the birthday party. You can use the other one. If you did a classroom type setup in there, 29 people is your limit. What I'm going to do is get a listing for standing and then one for seating. If you're going to do like a lecture series where you're not going to need tables, then how many people can you hold in there? If you're going to utilize tables, we know it's 29. End of discussion on that for the small one. The big room, however, is 300. Is actually smaller because the room is actually smaller, but not by a whole lot. I think it's over 300 people still in that room. I think it's 324 now. It was 360, I think, before. And then that's just sitting at tables. If you had tables like a reception or you've got something where you're utilizing tables, that's the max, 324. Whereas if you're just setting people up, in chairs like we would for some sort of a speaker, a lecture series, or a video series or something like that, then you could have more because you're not utilizing tables. But I need to get a clarification from the fire marshal on that one. But those are the things I was thinking about, is that we might do that. Also, do you all want to consider a rate? And some of these, and the reason I'm saying this is I've seen some of these, I've actually gone through the city administrator's listserv and gotten some information on how they rent their facilities. And some of them will say, all right, you get a discount if you take the rental during the week, but on the weekend, you've got to pay full price.
Mm-hmm.
So it gives you something else there that gives you an option. Okay, do you want to go with a lesser cost and do it during the week? Or do you want to go for full price and hit it on Friday, Saturday, the big days that everybody wants?
Mm-hmm.
So
That's a good idea. Mm-hmm.
so that's something I want you to kind of kick around in the time that we have between this and next month. One of the things that I'd like for us to do next month is to start on our projects and the capital wants. I'm prioritizing this coming year with capital needs and then capital wants. If it's a capital need, I'm going to go ahead and put it in. If it's a capital want, you guys will establish that and then set priorities on it. And then we'll get that knocked out. We can do that long before we start getting into what funds are available. So we get this set up, we'll get to see what the funds are going to be, how this year will end. We estimate what the funds we expect will be, and then we can go back and then make our calls on that. And I'm also going to set up some time with the council to see if they will give us some strategic ideas of what they want and what they feel is a need and what they feel is a want. Needs, those are things that we have to address. It's not one of these things where it's an option. It is a necessity that we address capital needs. Now, capital wants or capital improvements, that's our wish list. Be nice to have, but it's not essential necessarily.
Absolutely.
So, because we've made quite a bit of headway throughout our park system.
Oh yeah.
Take a look at it. You got LEDs and most of the sports, fields. I mean, I've got 2 fields that don't have LEDs, I think right now, and they're 1 and 2, but they've got good systems in them as they are. And all we would have to change on 1 and 2 would be just the heads and to shift over to an LED system. Not going to be cheap. It's not necessary, or it's not a need necessarily. It's a want.
Correct.
Civic Center, yes, it was a want, but I really think that's a need because we just set that thing up and it'll take us into our children's grandchildren. That is a strong building. I am once we got in there and saw more and more of what that building is, everything I've seen it looks like it was pretty decently done, and steel framing. I think that building
It's going to be there.
for a long time.
That's good.
Unless there's a divine intervention, I think it'll be around for a long time. So
So do we want to go ahead and vote on the fees for the Civic Center?
no, I don't think you need to think about them before we vote on them. Take a look at it. Do you want to do this at half day, whole day? Understand that right now, I can send you a fee schedule. Matter of fact, give me just a quick second. I probably could pull one up. Let's see here.
I mean, I personally like it.
The biggest thing for me, John, is just that we don't make it. It's the Civic Center, so we want something that the city can really utilize. And obviously, we don't need it to be cost prohibitive to do that or difficult to do that. But on the other hand, I could see us, if we didn't do anything tight enough, that we might have to come back and do some revisions if things got out of hand. And I mean, you could definitely see some activities getting a little wild and crazy there. But for now, I think, I mean, on my part, I'm going to look at setting the bar pretty low. It's not a capital need for the city. We're not going to make any money on the thing, but it could get a lot of civic use if we keep it relatively inexpensive.
Well, one of the things you also want to take into consideration, I don't disagree with that, David. One of the things I would you like you to consider is the fact that we have spent a ton of money here getting this updated. And I don't think that I don't want you to bottom dollar it, because number one, we're competing heavily against those that are for profit and have put their business in the city. And I'm not saying we go to their rates, because their rates are there. But at the same time, I don't think we need to bottom dollar it. Number one, to lessen what we've done, or two, to make it that much harder for them to actually survive.
But can we make exceptions, or do we make exceptions for things like AA meetings, or if there's a parents' night out, or GED preparation courses and things like that actually really benefit the community as far as raising the bar of education, or substance abuse or things like that?
Yeah, we have right now we're looking at fees for general activities.
Okay.
That doesn't say a whole lot, but just general activities, and all these prices I'm telling you are prices for the big room.
Yeah.
And the conference room hasn't been utilized forever because it's been used for storage. It was so cheap for the use of it that we wound up and we did more. We just used it for storage, and so we didn't ever rent it. But performance activities, you have somebody comes in, it's fee based for performance, $250.
Yeah.
General activities, $250. Nonprofits got $125. They got a 50%.
Okay, there we go. Okay, all right, I got you.
Residents of the community got a 75 or 150 if they're non-residents.
Right.
And then the catering room was another 50. Now, here's the thing that we want to take a look at, because we also had fees for lighting and tournaments and training camps that we are not charging for now. But basically all we've had down there has been the 2 organizations that we co-sponsor, basically because they provide the baseball softball for us, which is the Calvert City Baseball Softball Association, and Marshall County Soccer. And we they provide us with those activities. And so we kind of co-sponsor that. And we haven't charged them anything for the use of the fields, lighting, etc. But we need to look into, if you have somebody comes in that is not part of that, that wants to hold something there like a training camp or wants to do a tournament. We have a ball field. There are right now, if you wanted lighting for a ball field, under those circumstances, that's $20 a day. If you had a tournament other than the CCBSA tournament, if you had another tournament you want to host there, that's $20 per team. And if you had training camps, it was $5 for participant. And those actually exist. Those are there. They've been there forever, but we don't get a lot of that anymore.
Do those fees perchance cover the tennis courts / pickleball courts as well, or is that arrangement that we have separate? In other words, can somebody rent that for a tournament as well as, because that's coming. That's probably coming.
We could, but we haven't yet. I mean,
Okay.
no one's actually wanted to say, all right, we want to take this over for a tournament. We've not had that.
I could see pickleball with the interest it's building.
Yes,
Mhm.
I agree with
Good
that.
question.
So those are some of the things I think we need to talk about. We need to talk about all of our facilities and look at that and see, because we're never going to make, this is not ever going to be a money maker. But I do want to know that we're actually tending funds or obtaining funds to help with the maintenance of it.
Mhm.
So that's what I want us to think about, and making sure that we protect that investment by saying, all right, we hold you responsible. We want you to utilize it, but we're going to hold you responsible for what goes on in there while you have become the tenant or the renter. And so those are the things that I want us to look at.
By the next meeting, is it possible we get a list or a breakdown of the current fee structure on those?
Yeah.
Okay. So we can kind of,
I can send that out to you.
Yeah, that'd be awesome to look at.
Yeah, I think that's a good place to start with, just to.
Well, we need to consider the alcohol factor as well. I know that we had tabled that in the past.
well, I mean, I'm pretty conservative, but it's legal in the city. Calvert's the Wild Wild West as far as that goes. So I don't know. I mean, I guess that's where I was starting with this. Unless something gets out of hand, obviously, kind of like if you're in a timeshare and you have an assessment, somebody destroys the property. There's got to be a way. You're not, there may not be a way to recoup that. You've lost a lot of, or may have a day or weekend of cleaning and stuff that may really exceed the cost of putting the event, or the people paid in the event, and possibly even their deposit.
That's one of the reasons why I know that, like other places, they don't raise the rental fee, they raise the deposit fee.
Right. Okay.
My thought is if you're going to have a deposit fee, you're going to have a deposit, and then they've got insurance. You've got what you need if they do damage. You just got to be able to.
Back then,
I didn't realize my home insurance covered. My home insurance here on 735 Linden would cover something like that. I had no idea.
Yeah, if you go out and rent a room or rent a building or rent a structure for a party or a little soiree you're going to have, birthday party,
Right.
whatever, check with them. But most cases they do. It's
Okay.
part of that, So I've used that before when I would rent. Back years ago when I was having birthday parties for my daughter. I'm not going to how many years that was, but still, back when that was going on, they would utilize my renters or my homeowners insurance for that purpose.
Okay.
I had a birthday party at my house where my renter's insurance actually covered a medical bill for one of the youngsters who fell on the sidewalk, or not on the sidewalk, but in the yard, and fell onto the driveway, breaking her arm. So that's something else that we have to take into consideration. The damage, that's another issue that we've got to consider. But I'm not trying to make this untouchable or outreach. I'm just thinking that let's
Right.
look at it. Let's see if we can do something that can help keep the prices down by giving options for, half a day versus a whole day. They still have use of it. And if they don't have insurance through whatever, then we can at least get a deposit that'll help cover that if there was an issue. And if you know, if they don't, no problems, and they pass the inspection at that, then we'll cut them a check back for that deposit. Now, if we take a deposit, we are going to deposit the deposit. It's not going to sit there and hold the check. That doesn't do any good. It's easy enough for them to pick up the phone and say, cancel that.
Right.
So that's not a doable thing. So, but again, that's something I want to, you all should have gotten, and I sent you the email of the Civic Center schedule of fees that we operated prior to this. So if you got your email available, take a look. You should have gotten it. I sent it to all of you. Questions or concerns about that? I mean, like I said, we've got Blair's office is now down there. It's up and operational. We now have internet inside the building with new accessible. We've got 2 antennas inside for accessibility. Plus, we're mounting, or we're sending. That's where all our public Wi-Fi is now coming from. We're moving our public Wi-Fi through the Wi-Fi or the internet services at the Civic Center. That way, the city's internet is for the city employees and city work here at City Hall. Because right now we're furnishing both with the same service. Now, that's not a problem. I'm not worried about someone trying to get in that way, although I don't think I probably could if they are good at that. But my biggest concern was bandwidth. And we'll have people that come up here in the parking lot and they will just, they'll use it. You can see them, they'll pull up here and run internet while just out in the parking lot. And so my biggest concern was broadband access and slowing down our operationals. This way we have our operational setup, we have the other setup for the public. And that actually should extend the distance of the public Wi-Fi better into Old Park, and maybe further out toward, the south end of Memorial Park.
Wow.
So you should be able to get. I'm hoping with that mounting on that tower behind Civic Center, that it's going to be able to reach most of our park system.
That would be awesome.
So,
Any other thoughts as far as any amendments to their rental policies for the Civic Center?
Nothing comes to mind.
Looking at so $25 for an in-resident.
no, $25 was for the old conference room. That had nothing to do with the big room.
I mean, yeah, that's what I'm saying, for the old small conference room.
Yeah, that's the
was
reason we're
$25.
using it for storage.
Yeah, that's not enough.
No, it's not. I mean, he was like, I'm sorry, it's full right now. And it
Yeah,
was.
definitely.
We wound up putting a lot of storage in there because honestly, nobody wanted the conference room. They wanted the big room. So now this other one is actually a good looking room. It's, more than, it's 150% of what it was. Okay. So the room is larger. It holds more people. It's got amenities in it. So that makes it easier to utilize. And it's actually big enough, like I said, for a small group for a birthday party. And that's the reason I think there's no reason to rent the big facility for a small birthday party.
Yeah, I used
unless
it
you
once.
just want to spend the money for it.
Right.
Yeah, I used it once and it was a little small before. So I think the fact that it's a little bigger now is definitely going to help.
Yeah, you've been in there now, so you know how big it is now. Has anyone not been in the facility? David, you haven't, have you? You have? Okay.
Yeah, I went through it. Well, I mean, not when it's absolutely complete. I went through it. They were laying the last little bit of floor laminate down.
Okay.
And I went over there and looked at it and walked through it.
I know Mr. Nay has. Jeff, you have too, haven't you?
I think I was, even when I voted early. So I don't think I even went for that, but I've been by it a few times. I haven't really been in. I've seen the video and looked inside of it that way, but actually being in, I have not.
Anytime you guys are wanting to come down and actually want to see it, give me a call. I'll meet you down there. If
Oh, yeah.
Blair's there.
I did go down there and vote. So, I mean, yeah, I was in it then.
Okay.
So it's good
I
looking.
voted. I did the early, so I did it at the library that day. So I have not been in.
It looks great. It really does.
Yeah, it does.
I mean, that's one of the projects that the city has done that have received no negativity.
Exactly.
I have not heard a negative comment one. Not that they're not out there, but I'm just saying I have not. So I think as a whole, the public really appreciates what we've done with that building.
Yeah, it looks so good.
Yeah. So anyway, I have, again, I've got a couple other facilities, like one out of Hopkinsville, one from the Robert Cherry Civic Center, and a couple others. I can send Bowling Green. I can send those to you so you can actually see what they charge for the different. And one of the things is hard to compare because I'm not sure what their size of those buildings are.
Mhm.
But it gives you an idea. I was looking at them as much for the alternatives. They've got, some of them will actually rent it to you for 2 hours at a time. We don't have the staff for that.
No.
We don't have the staff for that. Much as I would love to be able to do it, we'd have to have a full-time staff for that. So,
Well, and as you said before, we have, other businesses in the city, Kentucky Dam Village, the event center.
yeah, I don't want to, we're going to draw business that Lakeland won't get. But at the same time, someone that can afford to pay the higher prices may decide that they want something, that I hope that what we do is we fit a niche that they don't have.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's what I'm hoping
Right.
to do, as opposed to being a direct competitor.
And at the same time, you got to have a balance because the library is free.
Mhm.
So that's something to consider too.
What do you mean the library is free? I'm not sure what you're saying.
You can rent the library during the daytime. And there's no charge. It's free.
Really? Well, that's good.
Mm-hmm.
That's good.
So there's always that option as well if you're just having a business meeting.
Oh, I don't have to worry about it then. We'll go full price. Don't worry about it.
Mhm.
Let's go, guys.
But it's not always available too.
True. Yeah, true. So, but like I said, we've got one that's going to do more business than us simply because they've got the size advantage. I think Lakeland's probably got the ability with the staff that they've got the ability to do a shorter periods than we could do. So
Mhm.
Sounds good.
we also have some amenities in there that we don't have, and I don't expect that we will add either. So,
Well, do we want to think about this and individually and then try to come to a decision next meeting? Or do you want to try to hammer this out tonight?
I would prefer you took some time to think about it.
I'd like to take some time myself.
Yeah, I do, because I don't think it's something that you can do you could, but I think that you'll regret doing that, and we'll wind up going back and visiting it time and time again. I'd like to see us take a look at it.
Yeah.
As a whole, try to look at some scenarios, think about, manpower. And, at the same time, I want to make sure that we still can service the whole community and not just some of the community, I just want to be able to service the whole community. As Mr. Worley said, I want to be able to handle if we have a young family that, doesn't have a big income, we want to be able to work with them as well as somebody that is one of the factories.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
All right. Any other business?
Other than we just need to, we will need volunteers for the 120, is it 125th? And how do you say that, John?
The
Ses,
centennial will be 100,
there you go.
150.
150.
Okay, there we go. There you go. We will need volunteers for that day. It will be the July 4th weekend, of course, and I know it's hard to plan right now because the future is so uncertain, but just to get that in your ear, we will need lots of volunteers and lots of help for that because it's going to be a big event. It's going to be lots of fun.
Blair, what kind of centennial is it?
Sesquicentennial.
Thank you.
Good
I have
girl.
tried. I cannot say that.
I did. What was it again, Blair?
That's good.
So Bobby Faust is the one that taught me how to say it. It's sesquicentennial.
Watch.
Yes.
Sesquicentennial.
Centennial. Sesquicentennial.
Well,
Okay, I
that's
think I
right
can
in the
do
middle
that.
of my annual trip to Mexico, but who knows if that's going to happen anyways.
Right.
Right. It is a long weekend. It starts on Thursday and then goes through Sunday. So we're gonna need all the help we can get.
Wow.
The mayor and Danae and I are on the committee for it, and we're all really big dreamers. So
Yeah.
That's good. I
You
worry.
three on it. We got it covered. You guys got it.
At the last event, and that was just, something that you created in the last month and a half. I may be in the plans a little bit longer, but it was huge success from anything I've been to the park to see. But that being said, the parking is still, for that small an event, we're really going to be stretched.
Yep.
Obviously, in the planning, they'll consider that and figure shuttles or something because
Mhm.
I don't know where we'd park a crowd triple that size.
Yep. I agree. It's all in the works.
Okay, awesome. Well, and I'm sure if you're thinking big, you're already thinking, I'll put yard signs out, $10 for parking in my yard. We'll figure something out.
Hey, there you go.
We're like Tuscaloosa, John. We'll just wave a flag and bring them in,
Yeah. Come on back, $10.
Yeah. We'll figure something out. But anyway, that was, I can't imagine that was such a big event this weekend. And I'm excited for all the things you got planned for us.
It's exciting.
Good deal.
All right. Guys, unless you all have something else, that's all I have other than I wish everybody a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year and hope it's a good one.
Yeah.
Merry Christmas.
Everybody,
Absolutely. Happy holidays to you guys.
yeah. Take
Can we get
care.
a motion to adjourn?
I'll
I'll
motion.
give a motion.
Second?
We got Jeff and David.
Yeah. Flip one. Yeah. Either one.
All right. 6:18 p.m. Meeting is adjourned.
All
Thanks.
right.
Bye, guys.
You guys.
Guys.
Bye, everybody.
Y'all have a great